Remember the man staggering through the desert? Been staggering for a long time, dying of thirst, almost out of energy. And he walks up over this little dune, sand dune, and in the distance, he sees a small shack. Okay, with his last bit of energy, this stranded man makes his way to that shack and opens the door. When he opens the door, he sees 3 items. The first thing that he notices is this water pump right there in the middle of this shack, a big water pump. The second thing he sees is a jar of crystal clear water with the lid on top. The third item that he sees is a note. And the note reads something like this: to prime this water pump so that it can give you all the water you could possibly need, you have to empty the entire contents of the water jar into the pump. Once you do that, the water pump will give you as much water as you need. When you finish and you've had your fill the water jar back up, put the lid back on it, and leave it for the next traveler. All right. That man has a decision to make, doesn't he? Does he drink the sure thing? Does he hold on to what he knows he has? Or does he trust the testimony about the water pump enough to sow his seeds there in hopes of getting an abundant return? Now, you and I will prayerfully, we'll never be staggering through the desert and be faced with a decision like that. But we make that same decision all the time. And you know what I find to be tragic? It's tragic when Christians drink the jar of water. God's saying, if you will just sow your seeds, I can do so much more with your seeds than you can. You see, sowing before you reap really is a matter of trust. The man has to make the decision: do I trust the testimony about this water pump enough to pour my most precious thing, the life-saving water, in this jar? And you and I have to answer that same question. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 10. Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also, not sometimes, not most of the time, will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. Okay, let me just ask you a question. How much do you believe that? Because sowing before we reap really does come down to a matter of trust. Do you trust the testimony about what God has said He will do?